Hey, gym owners, what's going on? It's Coach Will, and today I'm going to be talking about how to keep members forever, no matter what happens. Okay, guys, so I'm going to get into this. Let me share my screen real quick so you guys can see what I'm looking at. I want to share this with you guys. Something I spent all morning working on. I'm super excited to share it. All right, guys, so how to retain members forever, no matter what happens, guys. So I'm going to get in here. We're going to get a little bit out in the weeds to explain why we do things a certain way and why this works, and then I'm going to bring it all back. Okay, guys, so real quick, this is how a growing tribe works, guys. And this is essentially like a process or a way of thinking about things, or even just the straight facts of how tribal mentality works and how to get people to make concessions to stay with your business instead of doing other things that maybe they think their money's better spent towards, or whatever the case may be. So first example I want to get into is I want to talk about Steve Jobs and Apple, because that's one that really, really applies, that everybody knows about, for as far as like a product that we all either love or hate. So Steve Jobs, right after he created the iPhone, the first iPhone, he got a lot of backlash because it wasn't like a lot of the phones that were out there. Okay. If we looked at the time, there was a bunch of phones that were very, very popular. If you guys remember, everybody had a BlackBerry back then. It was the phone. It was the pop culture phone. If you didn't have one of those, you had maybe one of these other models, maybe the Nokia. And all these brands were focused around making a product that everybody loved, okay? And when Apple moved into the space, they decided to do something different. And it wasn't, even though they're the most popular phone now, originally when it first came out, if you had an iPhone, you were kind of the weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like, it was different. And that was done on purpose, guys. Like, Steve Jobs was a brilliant guy. And this is a statement right afterwards, after the first iPhone, and they found that it had success. And he said, it's not about pop culture. It's not about fooling people. It's not about convincing people that they want something they don't. We figured out what we want. And I think we're pretty good at having the right discipline to think through whether a lot of people are going to want it too. And that's what we get paid to do. So you can't go out and ask people what the next big thing is. There's a great quote by Henry Ford. This is Steve Jobs quoting Henry Ford, saying, he said, if I had asked my customers what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse. So just mind-blowing statement there, guys. So he had all these phones in the market, that were like this, and he came out with this, okay? And this was the first iPhone, and it had its issues too, and everybody was, because it was so different what was going on, it created one of two things happened. Either you were a diehard follower and lover of the product, and you wanted to try it out and be one of the first in, and you were huge, and that was you, or you were like a lot of the public were like, I don't know about that. I'm going to stick with my BlackBerry because it works and does everything perfectly for me right now. Okay. So it's all about doing something completely different and creating true believers early on. So that's how Apple started with this. How Steve Jobs did everything with Apple. When he first came out with new products, he would launch them. And literally in his own press conferences, he would have developers and like world-class developers and people that thought they knew better, saying like, why are you using this software? It's not the best. You should be using this software. It has so much capacity. And Steve would always say, well, it's not about making everybody happy right now. It's about making a few people true believers in what we're doing. And he was stuck true to that message. If you go back and listen to old Steve Jobs press conferences, they are incredible. I've been digging in deeply and listening to them and watching them. And that's one thing he always stood true to. And he always had like a tremendous number of haters. And there are always people that were coming from like the PC crowd or the BlackBerry crowd, and people that like were using the mainstream products at the time, saying like, why don't you do it that way? And that was really what his goal was. It was about doing something completely different and creating true believers. And it was all about how you interacted with your tribe. And what that did, by him refuting the pop culture statements at the time, he drew the people in that were more in line with what he wanted, and that were going to be his true fans, his true believers, because he knew that if he had impact with that small people, that small culture of people, that they were going to do the spreading of the words for him. And as the product got better, it was going to branch out quickly. Okay. So how do you do that? Okay, so how do you guys do that with your gym? How do you affect with your gym and create true believers or true fans or people that are going to stay with your business forever and create referrals and have amazing retention and all these things? It's important to understand how the monkey brain works, guys. So the monkey brain, down deep inside our super evolved human brains, there's still a monkey brain. There's a little part of our brain that's super unevolved and makes decisions one of two ways, and it still kind of steers the ship every now and then. We have the ability to override it with these more developed parts of our brain, but essentially this part of our brain has huge influence on either taking us towards pleasure or away from pain. So how do we engineer that into the member experience? It's super important to think about this, guys, because it's really how it works. It's either it takes them towards pleasure or away from pain. So essentially, like if you give them what their brain needs, which is a dose, okay, of the right chemicals, at the end of the day, they're going to think about the other options they have in their life. They're going to think about whether or not like they should trade a longer drive because maybe they relocated to another part of town for going to your gym, or if it's worth the pain or not to do that. And if in that decision-making process, you're moving them towards pain by them driving further, and you're not really offering a service or a level of experience that is greater than that pain, then that's going to win out every time. That's just how it works. Okay, guys? So here's a little bit of the science of how the brain works and how you can build this in your member experience. Okay, guys? So remember, dose. It's all about dose. And this isn't something I thought of. This is not unique to me. I did a lot of research on this and dug in deep and collected the information and kind of aggregated it here to point it towards gyms and how we can benefit from it the most. And it's super, super important. These are things that like the world-class marketers, people with huge tribes, Apple, Tesla, Elon Musk, these attractive characters we see, it's what they do that allows them to draw in their true fans and then eventually build these huge companies that scale quickly, because once they prove it organically with their true fans, they know they can scale it outwardly, okay? Because you're going to, those believers, those first few influencers are going to have huge impact, okay? And a lot of you guys that have evolved gyms have experienced this in your gyms, whether you meant to or not, okay? So dose. Dose stands for 4 brain chemicals, guys. So dopamine, which is the chemical of distraction, oxytocin, which is the chemical of belonging, serotonin, which is the chemical of status, and endorphins, which is the chemical of completion, okay, guys? So let's get into dopamine first, okay, guys? So how do you build the chemical of dopamine into your experience? Well, let me go back real quick, and let me just say something about this previous page. Sorry, my thing is stuck. There we go. Okay, cool. So essentially these 4 brain chemicals, guys, like your brain is constantly, the pleasure-seeking part of our brain, the monkey brain, is constantly seeking doses of these chemicals. Okay, if it does not get them, it will seek them elsewhere. Okay, it's not like you can't really control it. We constantly are filling these voids with other things. That's what addiction is, and different things in life. That's why social media works so well, is because they are literally building dopamine into your experience, where you're constantly feeding the monkey brain that dopamine drug that we create naturally. And then there's other things built in, like that draw you in as well, that fulfill these other parts of your brain as well in social media. It's very, very good at that. And same with the best brands in the world. So real quick, dopamine, guys, chemical of distraction, how we build that into our gyms. The best way to approach this is to use your online presence. A lot of gym owners that I talk to or have talked to, or what I've recognized, is they're really, really good at in-person and getting people, some of the other brain chemicals, but the one that's often missing that is hard to leverage is dopamine. Our members don't get enough of it. So what we do at our gym, and what I tell other gym owners who ask me to do, is to use and leverage social media. You know what I mean? What I mean is not to the broader population, but have a Facebook group that's very highly engaged. Okay, so you're getting into that Facebook group, you're creating engagement daily, you're having a schedule for different types of posts on different days. Doing things like what we do at our gym is on Sundays I do a post called Spark Sunday Wisdom. And if I'm super busy and I can't do any other posts all week, I'll ask the coaches to take the rest of the days, and I'll still do Spark Sunday Wisdom. And I'll share in there, maybe I went to church and I learned something very impacting that I can point towards their experience in the gym. Or maybe I read a Stoic passage and I want to share my point of view on that. Or maybe, it could be religious. It could be something else impactful, something, whatever, spiritual, whatever it want to be. There's something on a grander scale, mindset related. And then at the end, I always make a call to action to use their Sunday to prepare their mind for the week, to do their planning, to do things like meal prep, to do things like get their schedule in order, knowing when they're going to work out, where they're going to eat, what they're going to eat, how they're going to get it, all these things, and making sure they know that it's time to take action. It's not a day to be lazy, and then what I do is over the week, I have other posts I make. We have one of our coaches who does more like tactical posts about, how to have a better clean and jerk, or how to have a better snatch, or how to be more efficient in workouts. We have other posts that have to do with other things, like traveling and how to, take CrossFit with you on the road and stay fit while you're on the road and things like that. So this is this is how you'll fulfill a chemical distraction, because they're only at your gym an hour and a half a day. So you don't have a lot of time to distract them. You don't want them distracted because they're in a class. So the only way to leverage this is to use social media and have tight-knit Facebook groups where you have a high level of engagement. You're asking for members to engage. You're tagging members. You're doing video. I do Facebook Lives 2 or 3 times a week, because Facebook Lives right now, Facebook is making sure they put in front, like if you're friends with a member and you're also in the same group as the member, and you do a live, it will blow up their phone saying Will Hurst is live in the Spark members group, tune in now, and you will get engagement, okay? And you can have people do call to actions in the video, like, hey, if you're watching, give me a thumbs up, So this is how you leverage dopamine. This is a big one, probably the biggest one most gyms are missing, is they're not leveraging the other 23 hours of the day on the tools available to give people the dose of this drug that they need, so they don't go seeking it elsewhere, because something else is distracting them online. Something else is going to pull them. It could be another gym's article that they're reading. It could be some article on that on something that has to do with fitness that refutes what you guys teach. You don't want that. You want them engaging with your stuff, okay? So there's that oxytocin, the sense of belonging. Now, CrossFit gyms do a pretty good job of this sometimes. It can be something that's built in by default if you have a good core member base, but this is essentially like the bringing them together and giving them a label or something to cheer for, okay? So if you don't have it in your gym, you should have a mascot or a moniker. You know what I mean? A moniker is like a labeling your members as something. Like at our gym, we're Spark CrossFit, and we slowly over time, this thing has evolved where the members call themselves Sparklers. I didn't even give that to them, but we kind of made it official and have put it on a couple of shirts now. And Sparklers, like even for our toughest guys, you would think like, oh, they're not going to want to be called Sparklers, but even the toughest guys in our gym like own it. You know what I mean? Like they wear the shirts that say Sparkler on them, and they don't care when they're out in public, and they have that sense of belonging. Okay, so it's a simple also on a day-to-day basis of like bringing your members together before and after workouts and talking about opening them up and getting them talking about other parts of their life. So maybe at the beginning of each workout, it's like, hey, it's hump day. How was your Wednesday? Did you have any troubles today? Like share with the group. You know what I mean? Having conversation and sharing and being open is a way to bring people closer together. And then at the end of the groups, we also do things like, we'll do a little cheer, or, we like to do 1, 2, 3, stomp, stomp, clap, clap as a group all at the same time. To kind of get them doing something together and kind of a tribal behavior, okay? So that's oxytocin and how you can build that into your gym. So a mascot, a moniker, getting them to engage in person at the gym with other members and sharing, okay? Serotonin, the feeling of status. This is also something that CrossFitters, I think CrossFit gyms used to do a better job of, not so much anymore as we move more towards marketing to the general population. Some gyms are trying to move away from the Kool-Aid drinking, and in a way, I think that could be a bad thing. I think you want to just find your own form of Kool-Aid drinking. I don't think you want to necessarily do the same CrossFit Kool-Aid drinking that's been going on the past decade, but shift it a little bit, So it's making them feel part of an exclusive group or a culture. So it used to be like 9 years ago, it used to be a joke that CrossFit gyms were like cults, and people were almost like kind of serious about it, and people would make fun of the people that did CrossFit because they were in a cult, and they were drinking the Kool-Aid. But the funny thing is that's when CrossFit gyms grew the fastest. So like gyms slowly moved away from that, and now you see gyms struggling because they're not owning that. You know what I mean? So it's like create your own version of Kool-Aid drinking and examples of how you can raise status and give them that dose of that chemical of serotonin that their brain needs. By you being the one to provide it, can be like having PR days where within their community it gives them a sense of status because they get to ring the PR bell. New skill acquisition, getting them to their first handstand push-up or muscle up, or even something super basic like completing a workout RX, or maybe it's just their first workout altogether and welcoming them and having other members like cheer for them and say, good job. But it's being outwardly proud of belonging to it. You know what I mean? That could even be like shirts and things like that to say, I am this, or I'm a member of this gym. This is what we stand for, like a statement. Okay, so that's how you can develop status within your gym and the things you should have in place. Okay, and then endorphins. So this is probably the easiest one for gyms to get, because this is the one that naturally fitness has built into it. Everybody always talks about the runner's high or the post-workout high that you get. I get it myself, and I feel amazing after workouts if I complete a workout, especially if I complete it in the time domain that I intended to. You get an amazing sense of endorphins, but you can increase this on multiple levels. It's only one level, so you can get endorphins from other levels of completion within your gym. So it's what the defined endorphins is giving a regular sense of completion on more, it's giving them a regular sense of completion. So you're getting that in the workout daily, but how you can expand that is by, one, in the daily workouts, you got that, that's normal. Then you have special workouts occasionally, like hero workouts, tribute workouts, things like that are very hard to complete, and making sure they scale in a way where they can complete it and feel good and talk about it online. That gives them a sense of completion that both will also help fulfill status, because they did something that was very, very hard and difficult that no one else is doing right now. In-house challenges, things like, we just did at the start of the year, a 100K row challenge where in 40 days, our members had to complete a 100,000 meter row. And it was awesome. It gave our members an amazing sense of completion, because a lot of them came in outside of class. They would come in on days where they would be resting just to row 10K at an easy pace. They'd come in, put their headphones on, and they'd go in the corner and they'd row. And our attendance went through the roof, guys. It was amazing. And at the end of the thing, we had like 100 members complete it. I had to buy shirts for all of them, but it was worth it because along the way, they did several social media posts. They brought their friends in. We showed the challenge to people that were coming in and checking out our gym. And they thought it was awesome that we did these additional things to create accountability within our gym that also gave people a sense of completion outside of just doing the same workout everybody else is doing. It gave a few people in our gym, about half our members, an opportunity to get additional endorphins, okay? And then other events outside the gym that they can complete, like Spartan races, Tough Mudders, doing things like that, completing things that they didn't think they can do before will give them an amazing rush of endorphins they will not get anywhere else, okay? So that's how you can do that, guys. So the thing is, guys, if you can provide all 4 of these things, if they're getting the dose, then the value of your service becomes infinite. They'll never leave. It's just the way it works, guys. It is, I mean, people will, and some of you guys that have good gyms or have hardcore members, even if it's just a couple of them, you've seen them like literally make decisions as to where they work and where they live based on their proximity to the gym. And that's because you provide so much value to their life. You give the monkey brain down inside that they're not really that aware of, the dose of these chemicals to where it influences their decision-making, okay? Because you're moving them towards pleasure on a daily basis. So this is essentially how you have to build this into your gym. You have to think about dose and how you can give them dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, okay? If you do that, the value of your services become infinite. The price does not matter. Like, you will increase retention, you will get more referrals, you will hold on to these members forever, and they will be waving your flag. If some part of this is missing, or if you have struggled with certain members, the first question to ask yourself is, what of these brain chemicals am I not providing that I can step up on and give to them to make them feel more valued and to make us see more valued in their life, okay? So that's how we do it, guys. That's how you can build this into your gym and increase member retention and keep members forever no matter what happens. They'll drive farther, they'll spend more, and they'll make more other concessions in other parts of their life to continue to be a part of your tribe, okay? Now, that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. If this is something you guys want more info on, or you just loved it, comment with the little bicep guy below in the comments, and I can definitely come up with some more material. Maybe I can create a guide on this about how to build these things into your gym, and I can provide it to you guys. Just comment below and let me know if that's something you guys want, and I can message it over for you once I have it together, or I'll do another video or a follow-up or something like that, okay? All right, guys, thanks for tuning in and watching all the way through. Have a good day. Bye.